Hey, welcome to the first real episode of What Makes the Magic. Last time I introduced the idea that magic isn't about faces or spotlights, but about voices. Real human voices that carry memories, joy, and connection. For episode 2, I thought we'd start with something a little fun. This past week, I asked a question that sparked way more laughs and discussion. Does Mike Wazowski wink or blink? I know it's silly, but the answers and laughter reminded me that sometimes the smallest things bring out the most magic. Now, normally these conversations happen right in the parks, those quick little moments that just kind of find you. But life's been throwing me a few curveballs lately, and it reminded me that sometimes that magic still finds you, even when you can't be in the middle of Main Street to see it. So I reached out to a few cast members online and asked what makes the magic for you while working at Disney. And this first story came from someone at Walt Disney World.
The first time I got a little pixie dust from a guest was when I was having a really bad day at training, and I was really sad, and it was a really tough day, and I was helping this lady out, and I thought like my words wouldn't matter, like anything would matter, and when I helped her out, she just gave me some pixie dust, and I was really happy because I didn't know what it was at the time until I figured it out, until my trainer told me like it was a little pixie dust. And I was just like truly happy because I didn't know what it meant, but it just meant that I made their day, and I was just so happy that I made their day and made their visit a lot more better and made their trip a lot more worth it just by helping them out during the day.
What I love about that story is how something so small, a sprinkle of pixie dust, a kind gesture, can change everything. And that's the part of Disney magic that never gets talked about enough. Those quiet reminders that what you do, even when it feels small, can mean the world to someone else. Now, when I was able to go into the park this week, I pulled out my magic mic. No, not that kind of magic mic. This one spreads kindness, not choreography. I started talking originally with one cast member, just a simple conversation about what makes the magic for them. And a few moments in, another cast member happened to join us. And instead of talking about themselves, they started talking about each other.
I like working here because they actually cheer me up, and it's vice versa for us.
Well, I would say it's an everyday thing for him because he's our magic maker. He's always around, and oh my goodness, just seeing him makes our day way better. And so we have to reciprocate that. But he's always happy, and he's always friendly out to the guests, but also to us. And that's just so magical, and I love it.
What about yourself, though?
When a cool guest like you approach me and talk to me easily, I literally love just talking to you guys. And guests like you that do really cool stuff, like those podcasts that I now have to check out.
This was one of those moments that really makes you stop and think. Because sometimes the magic isn't about what we do. It's about who we notice, who we appreciate, and who we lift up. Those quiet exchanges between cast members. That's the kind of Disney magic that most people never see. But it's what keeps the park's heart beating. And hearing those voices, it's clear that the little things matter most. A thank you, smile, a moment that might feel small, but stays with you long after. And that's the heartbeat of what makes this place feel like home. But that's not the only question I wanted to ask. There's another one that always makes me curious. What's a favorite interaction you've had? One that still makes you smile whenever you think about it. And since this is episode 2, the first time we're really sharing personal experiences, let me start off by sharing one of my favorite moments from when I was a cast member. A couple years ago, I was working during Oogie Boogie Bash. At the time, my part was to check on certain treat trails. And at the end of one of those trails, there were some lingering families on the benches with children, and they were having their time of their life playing, let me tell you. And I have no idea whether these kids knew each other or not, but one was dressed up as Elsa and one was a Power Ranger. but the twist somehow was that they were both evil, I guess. And so all of a sudden I was walking out of the treat trail and Elsa ran up and froze me and then proceeded to run around me in circles and remind you, this is a child's imagination. I have no clue where in the world this all came from. Then the Power Ranger decides to unfreeze me with his heat powers. And this proceeds to go on for a good 5 minutes. And the one thing I remember besides the kids having so much fun was the laughter that it caused myself and the parents and the passing by witnesses that were exiting out of the treat trail during this whole interaction. That story just makes me smile because that's the kind of magic that can't be scripted. It's not about the treat trails or the costumes. It's about imagination meeting kindness right in the middle. Those kids weren't playing pretend. They were being seen. And someone actually took the time to step into their world for a minute. And that's what so many of us forget as we grow up. How powerful it is when someone believes in your story. And imagine the possibilities, even just for a moment. The funny thing is, I think moments like that stay with us just as much as they do for the kids. Every time Oogie Boogie Bash rolls around, it's not about the nostalgia. It's about remembering what it feels like to be part of the story again. That's the heartbeat of what makes the magic. My story from Oogie Boogie Bash will always make me laugh. But that's the beauty of Disney. No two moments of magic never look the same. Sometimes it's spooky fun, and sometimes the magic shows up in the funniest, most unexpected ways. This next story came from a cast member at Walt Disney World who learned firsthand that when a little princess tells you the truth, the magic still has a way of shining through anyway.
My favorite story from working with the Walt Disney Company at a Walt Disney World resort was one time when I was on my college program. It's when I started with the company. And I saw this cute little girl walk into my home resort store. And she had just got bippity boppity boutiqued. She had her cute little Aurora dress on. And she had her hair all done up. And she was very excited, I could tell, because she literally skipped into our store. And so I thought it would be cute. We had this little autograph book that sometimes we would ask kids for autographs. So it was kind of really cute. And so I thought it'd be fun to go up to her and pretend like she was the real Aurora. So I went up and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm your biggest fan. I love you, Princess Aurora. Will you please give me an autograph? And the little girl straight up looked at me and she said, I'm not really Aurora. And so me and the parents had a great laugh and it was super cute. But anyway, so then I was asking her, oh, okay, princess, well then, what's your real name? And she gave me her name and she signed my little book and I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, you're a new princess, you're a real princess. And I was just making her feel better, because even though she was being silly and saying she's not the real Aurora, I wanted her to make her feel like she was a real princess because she had a princess dress and got her little makeover. So yeah, I thought it was super cute and it made their day so much that they then left me a review with my managers and with our resort. And I feel very honored to have that privilege, and I feel very rejuvenated by the fact that we do touch lives and we can make lives just a little bit more magical. So yeah, that's my cute little story.
If there's one thing you can always count on with kids, it's their honesty. They see the world exactly as it is, and somehow that makes the magic even stronger. And maybe that's the real magic. Meeting people where they are and helping them see the wonder that's already inside them. And while some stories come from laughter and play, others remind you of just how powerful a single moment can be. You know what I mean? The ones that seem small at first, but for whatever reason, they just stay. They play back in your mind every now and then, years later, like a favorite scene you never want to forget. Sometimes, it's not about what was said or what even happened. It's about how it felt. The energy, the timing, the people who were there. Somehow it all just clicks. This next story came from a cast member who had one of those moments. A memory that found its way back to them time and time again. And listening to it, you'll understand why.
So about a year ago, I was working at the Wondrous Journey show, and I was able to make some magic for a couple that was here on a trip. And I was able to help this man propose to his boyfriend during the fireworks show. And just seeing his reaction to the ring was so amazing. It's really those little things that make this job worth it. And I feel so lucky to be a part of the magic.
I love that story because it shows how the magic isn't always about what's happening in the sky. Sometimes it's about what's happening in the crowd. You can almost picture that moment. The fireworks, the music, and two people realizing they're standing in the middle of their own fairy tale. It's such a perfect reminder that what cast members do goes far beyond the job description. It's about giving people moments that stay with them forever. The kind that make them feel seen, loved, and part of something bigger than themselves. But it's also important to remember those moments of extra magic aren't something to expect or demand. They just happen. They grow out of kindness, gratitude, and the energy we share with others. Because when kindness sparks kindness, it creates a chain reaction, one that keeps the magic moving long after the moment's passed. And sometimes, that spark becomes the start of a whole new journey. So, sometimes we think the magic has to be in the fireworks, parades, or castles. But sometimes it's a laugh shared over Mike Wazowski's eye, or a cast member's interaction with a random guest they've never met. That's what makes the magic to keep reminding us. Joy doesn't have to be big. It can be found in the tiniest of moments. And if you've been wondering about that all-important question, the consensus from cast members was blink. So maybe the real magic is that Mike has been blinking at us this entire time. But before I end this episode, I just want to say a special thank you to the cast members who shared their voices in this episode this week, and to those who participated in the poll as well as to all of you for listening. If you enjoyed this, follow the podcast, leave a comment, or share it with someone who could use a smile today. Because in the end, it's about all of us together making the magic.